Na mevrouw Marion Stekkel, de voorzitter van Women in Business, spraken wij dan ook met een van de inleiders. En dat is dan geweest de heer Edwards uit Engeland, die dan ook verschillende presentaties hier heeft gehouden. En aangeeft dat hij in feite het niet alleen maar bij een presentatie wil laten, maar later in het jaar of volgend jaar wil hij dan terug om te kijken wat de verschillende participanten aan het seminar, wat de business in Suriname heeft gedaan met de informatie welke verstrekt is geworden. Maar hij wil dan ook roundtable gesprekken voeren met de regering.
Well, I was actually here earlier this year. This is my second time in Suriname. I was here for a conference earlier this year, and I shared a couple of things around business and money and those sorts of things. And I then got an invitation back to speak about thriving during recession for women in business.
Mm-hmm. And what can you tell us about this subject?
Well, it's a critical subject at this particular time, especially in the light of what's happening in Suriname. I hear your currency's taken a huge fall in many ways, and so the idea was I talk about a black swan moment, which is actually a critical moment where you may have to make decisions. And one of the key things about recession, it is one of those moments. You can't just simply stay in the moment and not act upon it. And a black swan moment requires you to make decisions, and some of the key decisions that need to be made during a recession is that first of all you've got to survive it, that recession, and then you've got to revive yourself or revive the business or even the nation after a recession, and then you come through from that to thrive. But there are various factors that are important for either government or businesses to take into consideration when doing that. And I mean, a recession doesn't take place in isolation. It takes place within a context, for example, now of a global recession that we face. And how we respond is dependent not just upon what's happening in Suriname, but what's happening globally, and our international relationships and economics on a large scale. But that itself requires astute, erudite and knowledgeable leadership at the highest level. So, but on the local level, we've been positing some of the important keys for thriving during recession, such as debt management, workforce management, digital transformation, and customer care. So some of those are the factors we've been dealing with at the local level.
But Suriname is going through a hardship from 2015. Can we still talk about the recession?
Well, so often when it
Because
goes,
we are now so many years further.
when we're those many years further, we start to talk about it as being a depression rather than a recession, especially after 2 quarters of GDP going down, in a financial. So you're really in a financial slump at this point in time. And so it's more than a recession. It's much more in economic terms. We'll talk about that in terms of a depression.
Yes. And the Women in Business has organized this workshop, seminar as we call it in Dutch. They have organized it for the business owners in Suriname. So in this hardship, in these hard times, what can they do?
Well, many times we had a look at some of the particular factors that cause a recession and then ways that organizations respond during that recession. For example, some of the things we spoke about were actually customer care and how you relate with your customers, the whole idea of debt management, how you manage money in that time, foresight, do you understand, having an understanding of where is the economy going. Where is the Surinamese dollar going in relation to other currencies? Is there the possibility of keeping some of your finances in a stable currency like the dollar or other currencies? And so and then looking at industries, even in a recession, there are various industries that still thrive during a recession. For example, children always grow up. So childcare is one of those areas. Healthcare also. And so where do I put my money Well, when I look, how do I astutely look for industries where that still thrive during a recession, and what ways do I still continue to market my particular business in a recession? You can't cut back on marketing because the businesses are based on interaction with people. So these are some of the factors that are critical for organizations and businesses to keep doing during a recession.
And does the government have a role, like the government of Suriname? Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, government creates an environment and a culture for businesses to thrive or not to thrive. And so one of the things my organization does in Leadership Matters is actually educate government on good governance and anti-corruption laws that create that sort of environment for that. Rather, unfortunately, I always say most people in government, there are a lot of people in government that don't run businesses, and so because they don't run businesses, they don't kind of understand the climate that's needed. Well, if you don't do that, then bring in consultants that can provide that sort of knowledge and investment and in knowledge to create an environment for businesses to thrive. Because when government does that, and good governance does that, then it's all for the benefit of the nation, because it brings more Surinamese dollars in, and when there's more Surinamese dollars in terms of goods and services, then the dollar rises.
Yeah. And do you know how Suriname is known outside its borders when it comes to doing business?
Well, one of the things I said earlier on is that one of the problems we have with Suriname, I tell people I'm going to Suriname, and the first thing they tell me is, "Where's that?" And then unknown, and really no country on planet Earth should be known for where is that. Okay. Especially a country that's the greenest country on planet Earth, and so we need to be looking at ways by which we can market Suriname to other nations, because coming in, may I say, it's an absolutely gorgeous and beautiful country from what other parts I've seen, but it's important to market it in a way that tourism could be a big industry that brings money in, and when tourists come into a nation, they spend money in that currency, and so that's important. An important part I would like to see, and perhaps get involved in making Suriname known such that tourism becomes a big industry outside of the country. And so in short, Suriname's not even known, not to talk of is it known business-wise.
Business-wise, yes. And now after these 2 days of talking with each other, giving information, networking with each other, what will be the next step?
Well, my idea is for there to be practical application and implementation of a lot of what I've taught over these few days, and I can see people are incredibly excited and have taken the knowledge in, but also I think I would love to come back in and deal with things around governance and government, creating a climate for businesses to thrive, because it's all for the benefit of Suriname. So I think that will be the next step, to talk with government or provide opportunities for us to come back in and sit around, do round tables and see ways by which we can improve the economy of Suriname by providing consultations around good governance.